The fight for scraps. The night was cold, the streets were dark, and the ruined city smelled of smoke and garbage. Broken walls stood like silent shadows, and hungry dogs prowled around the corners. In the middle of this forgotten place, a young alien girl searched for food. Her hands were thin, her eyes hollow, her stomach empty for many days. She found herself near a pile of trash where half-eaten bread lay under dirt and dust. Her heart jumped. Her trembling fingers reached out, but another shadow moved. A wild dog growled from the darkness, its eyes glowing, its teeth sharp and hungry like hers. The girl froze, her legs shaking. She knew the dog was stronger, yet hunger pushed her forward. She grabbed the bread, and the dog leapt at her. The sound of growls echoed. The struggle began. She pulled. The dog bit her arm. She screamed but did not let go. Her small body shook, blood dripped down her hand. Still she clung to the food as if her life depended on it. The crowd around watched. Some aliens shook their heads, others whispered, but no one moved to help. In this city, weakness was punished. Kindness was forgotten. The dog pressed harder, tearing her sleeve. Its claws scratched her face. She tried to kick it away, but her energy was fading. She cried, her voice weak, "Please, just let me eat." But the dog did not understand. It only knew hunger. Her vision blurred. She felt herself falling. Still she fought. Her wounded hands bleeding, her lips dry. The bread crushed between her fingers. The dog snapped again, close to her neck. She thought this was the end. Then, a sound broke the silence. Slow footsteps, steady. Unlike the restless crowd, a tall figure stood at the edge of the alley, his outline strong against the pale light of a broken lamp. No one recognized him at first, his face hidden, his coat torn. But his presence made even the dog hesitate. The girl saw him through her tears. Her heart beat faster. Was he here to take the bread? To chase her away? Or worse, to finish what the dog had started? She did not know. The dog snarled. But the figure bent down, his voice calm yet firm. A single word. Not loud, but heavy. The dog backed away, growling, before running into the shadows. The girl lay on the ground, still holding the bread, blood marking her hands, her breath sharp and uneven. She waited for the stranger to take it from her. She had seen it before. Stronger ones always stole from the weak, but instead, he knelt beside her, his hands careful, his eyes steady, without a word. He tore a strip from his own sleeve and wrapped it around her bleeding arm. His touch was gentle, almost strange in this cruel world. The crowd whispered now, voices low. "A human," someone gasped. Fear and shock rippled through them. Humans were rare here, feared, distrusted. Some called them dangerous. Others said they carried old secrets. But this human was not here to fight or threaten. He was helping an alien beggar child no one else cared for. The girl stared at him, too weak to speak, her mind confused. Why would a human help her? Why risk anything for someone like her? He reached into a small bag at his side, pulling out another piece of food. He placed it in her hands. She blinked. Her lips trembled. Tears rolled down her dirty cheeks. She whispered, "Why?" But he gave no answer, only a calm look. The night felt different now. The silence was heavy. The crowd slowly stepped back, some in fear, some in shame. The girl, once alone and wounded, now felt a warmth she had never known, yet danger was not gone. Shadows moved again at the far end of the alley, eyes watching, whispers growing louder. Not everyone liked what they had seen. In this city, kindness was a crime, and the human had just broken the unspoken law. The girl held the bread tighter, her wound bandaged, her heart racing. She knew her life had just changed, but whether it was for safety or for more danger, she did not know. The figure stood looking down at her, his face still hidden by the shadows, his voice deep but quiet. "Eat, you are safe now." But was she safe really, or had this act of mercy just painted a target on both of them? The girl looked at him, her mind full of questions, her stomach full of hunger, her heart full of fear and hope mixed together, and as the cold night carried the whispers through the streets, one truth became clear. This was not just a fight for scraps. This was the beginning of something larger, something that would shake the silent city. The stranger in the shadows, the girl sat on the cold ground, clutching the bread in. Her hands, her arm wrapped with a strip of cloth, the human's bandage. Her breath was shallow, her eyes wide. She had never seen anyone act like this before, not in this city of hunger and silence. The man stood tall above her, his coat ragged, his boots covered in dust, his face hidden by the broken light. He seemed both strong and tired. Like someone who had walked a long road through storms and fire, the crowd that had gathered began to whisper louder now, fear mixed with curiosity. "It is a human," someone muttered. "What is he doing here?" another said, their voices carried a mix of warning and suspicion. Humans were not welcome in these streets. Stories of them were told in markets and alleys. Some said humans were ruthless survivors. Others claimed they were cursed, a race that did not belong. And now, one stood here breaking all the rules. The girl looked at him with trembling lips. "Why did you help me?" she asked, her voice weak, yet filled with desperate need for an answer. The man did not reply. He only looked at her with calm eyes, then bent down and pushed the bread closer to her chest. He gestured for her to eat. She bit the bread slowly, her hands shaking. Each bite felt unreal. After days of hunger, food tasted like life itself. Her tears fell as she ate, but the silence did not last. From the shadows, another figure appeared, tall and sharp, wearing a dark cloak, his eyes narrow and cruel. He was one of the city guards, his weapon at his side, his voice heavy with disdain. "Human," the guard spat. "You have no right to touch her, no right to be here." The crowd stepped back further, fear now greater. Everyone knew the guards. Ruled with iron, kindness was weakness, and weakness was punished. The human did not move. He stood still, his back straight, his eyes fixed on the guard. The girl felt fear crawl into her chest. She whispered, "Please go. They will kill you." But the man did not leave. The guard sneered. "Feeding the weak, protecting the useless. Do you think this will change? Anything? Do you think anyone here will thank you?" The human's voice broke the air at last, low but steady. "I did not do it for thanks." The guard frowned, anger rising. He pulled his weapon halfway. The crowd gasped. They waited for blood to spill, for the human to fall. But something strange happened. The dog that had attacked earlier returned, growling from behind the guard, its eyes still hungry, but it did not go for the girl this time. It looked at the guard instead, teeth bared. The guard froze, shocked. The dog circled him, snarling louder. The human stepped forward, his presence commanding, his eyes like fire. The dog lowered its head as if obeying. The girl's eyes widened. She had never seen such a thing. A wild animal bowing before anyone, and it bowed before the human. The guard stepped back, unsettled. "You will regret this," he growled before vanishing into the crowd, his threats echoing in the cold night. The people whispered again, louder this time. "Did you see? The dog obeyed him." What kind of human is this? The girl clung to the bread, her heart racing, her fear now mixed with wonder. She whispered to herself. "Who are you?" The man turned, his face still hidden. He reached out a hand to her, not forcing, only offering. She hesitated. Her life had taught her to never trust anyone. Yet something in his calm strength pulled her closer. Slowly, she placed her wounded hand into his. He helped her stand, her legs weak, but his grip firm. She felt for the first time that she was not completely alone. They began to walk away from the alley, the crowd parting silently, eyes following them, whispers chasing their steps. But in the shadows above, unseen eyes watched from broken rooftops. Spies of the council, their orders clear. No human should interfere with the order of this city. No human should spread defiance through mercy. One spy whispered into a small device. "We found him. The human is here." The girl felt the cold wind on her face, the bread still in her hands, the bandage still warm on her skin. She did not know where he would take her or what awaited them, but she knew the world had shifted tonight. The man finally spoke again, his voice quiet but strong. "Eat, heal, then we move. This city is not safe for you anymore." The girl looked at him, fear and hope both burning in her heart. She did not understand why he cared, why he risked everything for her, but deep inside, she knew one truth. Her fight for scraps had brought her into the path of a stranger in the shadows, and this stranger carried more danger and more power than she could ever imagine. The bond of trust. The night stretched long as the human led the girl away from the alley, their footsteps soft on broken stones. The city around them breathed with danger, whispers still clinging to the air. Every shadow felt alive, every corner hid eyes that could betray them. The girl walked slowly, clutching the bread close to her chest, her arm aching under the bandage. She did not know why she followed him, yet something inside told her to trust. Trust a man no one else dared to even stand near. He walked in silence, steady, his eyes scanning the streets, always alert, always watching. He seemed to know where to step, where to pause, like someone who had survived countless hunts. Finally, they stopped under the remains of an old shelter, its roof broken, its walls half burned. Here, the man sat down and motioned for her to eat. She sat too, though her body trembled with fear. Her voice, soft, "Why are you helping me?" "Humans do not help strangers." His answer was simple. "Because no one else would." Those words cut deep into her heart. They were heavy yet gentle. And for the first time in her life, she felt seen, not as trash, not as burden, but as someone worth saving. She took a bite of the bread, and though it was dry, it felt like the sweetest meal she had ever eaten. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "I do not even know your name." He looked at her for a moment, then replied, "Names are not important now. Survival is." Before she could ask more, a faint sound reached them, footsteps echoing through the ruins. Too many. Too heavy. Soldiers. The girl's body stiffened, her fear returning. "They are searching for you," she whispered. "They will kill us both." The man placed a finger on his lips, signaling silence. His calmness in the face of danger shocked her. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small device, glowing faintly blue, its light casting strange patterns on the wall. The girl had never seen such technology before. She gasped softly. "What is that?" "A shield," he said simply, placing it near the doorway. "It will confuse their scanners for a while." She stared at him with wide eyes. Questions burned inside her. Who was he? Why did he carry things no one else in this city possessed? Was he just a wanderer, or something more? The footsteps grew louder, voices calling, "Search the ruins. The human is near." The girl clutched her bread tighter, her heart racing, but the man sat still, his calmness like stone. He whispered to her, "Trust me, no matter what happens, do not run, do not scream." She nodded weakly. Though every part of her wanted to flee, the soldiers entered the ruins, their weapons glowing in the dark, their eyes sharp. They looked around, scanning the shadows, but their devices blinked and failed, their scanners unable to find the two sitting quietly inside. "False reading," one soldier muttered. "Move on." Slowly, the soldiers left, their voices fading into the distance. The girl let out a shaky breath, her body trembling. "How did you do that?" she asked, awe and fear mixing in her voice. The man looked at her, his eyes calm but unreadable. "Because I have walked longer roads than they can imagine." She felt her chest tighten, not with fear, but with something new, respect, even admiration. Silence fell again, but it was different. Now she did not feel alone in that silence. She felt a strange warmth, as if the bond between them was slowly forming, one built not by words, but by survival, by trust. But outside, the city was not silent. The council had been alerted. Their spies had seen the human protect the alien girl. Their anger was growing. In their eyes, this was not just kindness. This was rebellion, back inside the ruins. The girl looked at the man and whispered, "If they find you again, they will punish you. Why risk everything for me?" He looked away, his voice soft. "Because I remember hunger. I remember being left alone, and I swore no one else should suffer the same if I could stop it." His words struck her like fire. She had never imagined a human carrying such pain, such memory. She wanted to ask more, but she saw in his eyes that his past was full of scars he did not wish to reopen. The night deepened, and though danger circled them, the girl felt her fear fade just a little. For the first time, she did not feel invisible. For the first time, she felt she mattered. And as she drifted into uneasy sleep beside the silent figure, one thought echoed in her heart. This stranger was more than just a man. He was a force, and with him, her life would never be the same again. The world reacts, morning came, but it did not bring peace. The ruined city stirred with rumors. Whispers spread faster than fire. The human saved a starving girl. A dog bowed to him. The guard was shamed. In the markets, merchants spoke in low voices. In alleys, beggars repeated the tale with wide eyes. Even the gangs muttered it with unease. The story had grown beyond truth, but that made it more dangerous. Inside the council hall, high above the city, the leaders gathered, their faces cold, their eyes sharp. One of them slammed his hand on the table. "This cannot continue. A human interfering with our order is a threat," another hissed. "He spreads weakness. If others begin to follow, we lose control." They ordered more soldiers, more spies, their command clear. "Find him. Crush him. Make an example, dope." Back in the ruins, the girl awoke to the sound of distant horns. Her eyes opened wide. She saw the human sitting by the doorway. Still watchful, his weapon resting across his knees, his eyes had not closed all night. Fear rushed back into her chest. She whispered, "They will hunt you now. They will never stop." He turned to her, calm as stone. "They already were." She did not understand, but there was no time to ask. The streets outside shook with marching boots. Squads of soldiers searched every corner, their banners high, their voices loud. The girl's heart pounded. She felt trapped. "We cannot stay here," she cried softly. "They will find us." The human stood, his presence strong. He lifted his pack. "Then we move." They slipped through broken alleys, crossing bridges of cracked stone, avoiding patrols, always one step ahead. But the city was tightening like a cage. Everywhere they went, eyes followed, some filled with fear, others with something different. Curiosity, even hope. In a small square, a beggar woman reached out to the girl, her voice trembling. "Is it true, child? Did the human save you?" The girl nodded slowly, unsure if she should speak, but the woman's eyes filled with tears. She whispered, "Then maybe mercy still lives." The girl felt warmth in her chest, but the human pulled her away quickly, his voice low. "Do not speak too much. Hope can be as dangerous as hate." Soon they reached the edge of the city, where the walls crumbled into wasteland. The human stopped, scanning the horizon. "We must leave before they surround us." But before they could move further, the sound of engines filled the air. Dark ships descended from above. Council banners painted on their sides. Soldiers poured out, blocking the path. The girl froze. Fear like ice in her blood. She whispered, "We cannot escape." The human stepped forward, placing himself between her and the soldiers, unarmed. But unyielding, the captain sneered. Human, surrender now. The girl means nothing. Leave her and perhaps we let you live. The man's voice cut through the air, calm and steady. You speak of nothing, yet she is worth more than your counsels. Chains! The soldiers laughed, but their laughter faltered as the crowd began to gather behind them. Citizens of the city, drawn by the noise, eyes wide, voices whispering, he defies them openly. He stands for her. The girl clutched the man's arm, tears burning in her eyes. They will kill you, please. But he did not move, his eyes fixed on the soldiers. Suddenly, the wild dog from the night before appeared again, leaping from the ruins. It barked furiously at the soldiers, circling, snapping, its loyalty clear. The crowd gasped, whispers turning into murmurs. Some stepped closer, not to fight, but to watch, to witness, to see if one man's defiance could challenge the order they had lived under for so long. The soldiers aimed their weapons, tension thick in the air. One wrong move and blood would spill. The girl held her breath, her fear choking her, yet deep inside she felt something rising, something she had never felt before. Hope. The human spoke again, his voice carrying across the silent square. You call mercy weakness, but it is stronger than all your blades. The crowd stirred louder now, some nodding, some daring to whisper in agreement. The soldiers shifted uneasily, their control slipping as the people's eyes turned against them. The captain snarled, raising his weapon, but his hands shook slightly. For the first time, the power of the council trembled. The girl realized this was no longer just about food or hunger or survival. This was about something far greater, a battle between cruelty and compassion, and the human had lit the spark. The power of kindness. The square was silent, yet heavy with tension. Soldiers stood with weapons raised. The human stood tall in front of the girl, unarmed but unshaken. The wild dog growled at the soldier's feet, circling like a protector. The crowd pressed closer, their whispers rising like a storm. Some were afraid, some were curious, some carried something far more dangerous. Hope, the captain of the soldiers shouted. Stand down, human! Surrender now! This is your last chance. His voice cracked, trying to hold power, but the weight of the people's eyes made him falter. The human's voice was calm, steady. I will not move. She is under my protection. The girl clutched his coat, trembling, her heart racing. She whispered, They will kill you, please. But he only glanced down at her, his eyes kind, his words soft. Better they strike me than silence you forever. Those words carried across the square, reaching the crowd. A spark lit in their hearts. A merchant muttered, He risks death for a starving child, another whispered. We turned away when she cried, but he did not. The soldiers shifted uneasily, their formation weakening. The dog barked louder, echoing like thunder. Suddenly, the captain fired a shot into the air. The crack of energy split the silence. Enough! We will end this here, he shouted, raising his weapon at the human. The girl screamed, throwing herself in front of him. But the human pulled her gently aside, his eyes still locked on the soldiers before the captain could fire. Something happened. The crowd surged forward, not to attack, but to stand. Dozens of people stepped between the human and the soldiers, their voices rising. No more. Enough. He is right. The captain's face twisted with anger. Stand back, or you will all suffer. But the people did not move. Their fear broken, their silence shattered. The girl looked around in shock. Her chest tight with tears, she whispered. They are standing with you. The human's voice carried again, strong and unshaken. You cannot kill mercy. You cannot chain kindness. It will rise again and again. The crowd roared, their voices joining. Mercy! Mercy! The soldiers hesitated, their weapons trembling in their hands. The captain screamed. In rage, Fire! Fire now! But none obeyed. Their eyes flicked to the human, then to the crowd. Fear and doubt chaining them more than any order. The dog barked once more, loud and fierce, and the soldiers lowered their weapons, One by one, the captain stood. Alone, his power crumbling, he cursed and fled into the shadows, leaving behind silence broken only by the sound of hundreds breathing as one. The human lowered his head slightly, his shoulders heavy, yet his eyes calm. He turned to the girl. "You are safe now." The girl's tears fell freely. She whispered, "Not because of me, because of you." But he shook his head. "No, because you were seen, and once people see, they cannot unsee." The crowd stepped closer, not with fear, but with gratitude. Some offered food, some offered shelter, others simply bowed their heads, not in worship, but in respect. The girl felt something. Inside her shift, the hunger and pain were still there, but now they were joined by strength, by hope. The human looked at the people, his voice softer now. "Do not let this end with me. If you wish for change, carry it yourselves, for kindness is not mine alone, it is yours too." The people nodded, their eyes burning with new fire. The city that once ignored cries of the weak now stood awakened. As the sun rose above the broken towers, the human and the girl walked together through the crowd, the dog at their side, the people parting to let them pass. Their whispers no longer fearful but filled with respect. The girl looked up at him, her voice small. "What will happen now?" He glanced at the horizon, his face unreadable. "A storm will come, but from storms, new worlds are born." And so they walked forward into a future unknown, carrying with them the truth the council feared most, that one act of kindness could break chains stronger than iron.